Well, a very, very, very happy Tuesday here on the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Welcome to another episode. Justin here for the next 2 hours of the program, taking you guys up until noon, high noon, if that makes sense. And man, I got a pretty busy scheduled program for you guys this morning. It is nice and gloomy outside, and getting ready. I did a lot of work and a lot of questions came out. We are officially 33 days away from WrestleMania 39. And, I've talked about an exciting moment and talked about, not the exciting moment. Let me put it this way. I talked to you guys about how things started needing to take shape. And things are definitely taking shape. First of all, we're going to come away here on this program and giving you guys some breaking news that I saw this last night. The last couple years, WWE has gone through this whole road to WrestleMania where they have this one non-premium live event between Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and it's kind of a big night. And last year, I think we saw Brock Lesnar involved. It was at Madison Square Garden. And this year, coming out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we will see the rematch, between Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship that will be held this Saturday, March the 4th, in this final road stop to WrestleMania. Now, this is I think this is a monumental match, in my opinion, because Sami Zayn is getting yet again another attention to this undisputed WWE Universal Championship title reign that Roman Reigns has had. We saw this back at Elimination Chamber. Things didn't quite go Sami Zayn's way, and it was unfortunate being in his hometown. And right now the WWE can do a lot of things for Sami Zayn and his path to WrestleMania. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and how maybe the initial idea is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn teaming up to face the Usos at WrestleMania. And there's even been reports that Roman Reigns, or not Roman Reigns, that this tag team match can be the main event of night one of WrestleMania. And now Sami Zayn is presented this next opportunity, and these road to WrestleMania kind of house shows / premium lives that aren't aired, they tend to have some pretty big something pretty big coming out of it. So there's a little bit, although we're the rumors and speculations do have this tag team match set in place, this is a little bit of hope that we can see a triple threat match, or even Sami Zayn walk away and beat Roman Reigns. And I know this is more unlikely to see, but it gives you a little bit of hope, you guys. And I think this is an exciting time. It's WrestleMania season, and anything can happen. So, if you guys, are able to watch it, or able to find a way, if you guys are heading out to the event, please let me know. Keep me updated. I know I'll be on top of things, especially this is the last stop before WrestleMania. WrestleMania is 5 weeks away. All right, I want to also do a couple other TLCs and here a couple things going on. We have coming out of Raw yesterday. I talked about this kicking off the program, and I mentioned, listen, we are 5 weeks away, 33 days away from WrestleMania. We're excited. They're getting the ball rolling, and I told you guys after Elimination Chamber that these matches need to start throwing together. All right. And this is, Monday Night Raw. You got to have, head on, you got to have the, foot on the gas, and we got to get ready. We got to get going for WrestleMania that is coming up here in just a few weeks. And Paul Heyman, I think, says is the best. Every show, Paul Heyman was on Raw last night in a small little segment kind of promoting Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. We'll get into that. That will be on Friday Night SmackDown, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But Paul Heyman said it the best last night on Raw, and basically every show. So this Monday to this Friday to next Monday, it just gets better and better and better, and the anticipation just grows and grows and grows. And Cody Rhodes had a match last night. Then after his match, he had a match with Chad Gable. He wins his match, and then he goes out and says, "Hey, Roman, guess what? I'm gonna be on SmackDown this Friday." And so, yeah, the anticipation grows and grows, but the WWE still has to continue. Now, I'll say this: Roman Reigns has his hands full Friday night. He's gonna have to deal with Cody Rhodes. He's going to have to deal with his own bloodline and this turmoil that's been going on. He's going to have to deal with Sami Zayn because he's going to get ready for Sami Zayn for Saturday, and defending that title one last time. This will be the last match that Roman Reigns has before WrestleMania. I'll make, to make that clear. So he's going to have his hands full. The bloodline is going to have a lot of work to do coming up this Friday night on SmackDown. Want to go ahead and congratulate The Miz for being announced the host of WrestleMania. He's going Hollywood. And, I'm going to be honest and give you my luxurious opinion on this. I like it. Okay. There is a part of me that loves it. Yet again, there's a part of me that doesn't. And let me explain to you. The last couple of years, the WWE has had some sort of host, and yet they haven't really, what's the best way to put it? They haven't really honored that host. And when you think of a host of a show, you think of someone who has a couple of different segments that involves them throughout the time period. We've seen the New Day host WrestleMania. We've seen Hulk Hogan host a WrestleMania. We've seen The Rock host I believe The Rock hosted WrestleMania. I'm not too sure. But I'll have to get back to you on that. But you see, we've seen people host WrestleMania before, and I always get a little disappointed in these people that have host WrestleMania because you don't really see them other than maybe the kickoff of the show or, maybe a small little segment on one night. And so, I think this is a good opportunity for The Miz. He doesn't even really have a WrestleMania match for WrestleMania. So, be able to host both nights. I would like to see a little bit more involvement with The Miz. I know he's a creative person. He's a longtime veteran. I think he deserves a little bit more of the spotlight of WrestleMania. Have a couple of different segments here and there. Love to see him on the kickoff show a few times, as well as I can already call this and say this. I think you can expect a Miz TV with the special guest. Now, who is that special guest? I have absolutely no idea, but The Miz never sets to disappoint. We talk a little bit more about Monday Night Raw, you guys, because um, Trish Stratus uh, returns to even out the squad, to even out the playing field, and helps Becky Lynch and Lita capture the women's tag team titles. Um, I was talking to Trey a couple of weeks ago about this, and Trey was the first person that came to me and told me, listen, it's going to be a 6-woman tag team match at WrestleMania. It's going to be Bayley and Damage Control taking on the team of Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. And I'm thinking, okay, I think that's a possible role. But the motivation, just for last night alone, you see Lita and Becky Lynch. I wonder just exactly how WWE is planning to do it. Now, you know, I there's not a lot of multiple competitors in the ring in a match at the same time right now that is currently booked for WrestleMania. But you know, excuse me, but we have so I would like to see, and I don't know as far as this is going to happen. Maybe some double action with these women. I could see Lita and Becky Lynch go into WrestleMania, have themselves a women's tag team match. Maybe Damage Control and Bayley cost them the titles. They interfere in the match. Whoever their opponents are going to be, and then on night one, and then on night two, you can see the 6-woman tag team match that to unfold. And I that's just me and my where my brain's at this moment and right now. But exciting time to see and watch last night. See Lita. It's been a long dream for both women, Becky Lynch and Lita, to capture these tag team goals. And it's all about having fun out there, right? Yeah, you just guys got to have some fun measuring ways. But that was kind of a little bit of brief of Monday Night Raw last night and things going up, breaking news coming forth. I have a little bone to pick with the WWE, and I trust Triple H and the creative team and the writing team and knowing what they're trying to do. But I feel like the last couple of weeks, all right, have been kind of lackluster on creating a story behind matches that are set to take place. Let's take you back to the Friday Night SmackDown from Elimination Chamber, where Bray Wyatt came out and he said, listen, I want to have I'm going to take the winner of Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley Elimination Chamber, and I'm going to take them to WrestleMania and have a match with them. Bobby Lashley is the one who ultimately walked away as victorious due to disqualification from a low blow that Brock Lesnar delivered, which means now Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, or Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt, excuse me, are now going to meet each other at WrestleMania. Well, I'll mention this. I'll have a brief little segment at the beginning, later on in our program, but I have a little problem with that. Where is the backstory? I mean, I don't quite understand exactly where Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt fit in. And my other thing is, I'll talk a little bit more in depth, but these two right now are kind of faces in the WWE. So that's you really have two faces coming your way and talking about that. And then also you take a look at last night, where MVP brought on Brock Lesnar as a host on his little show, and he wants to challenge, Brock Lesnar to face Omos at WrestleMania. Now Brock Lesnar's acceptive on that, and but what's the true story behind that? MVP is calling Brock a coward. MVP is calling Brock soft, and he says MVP is telling Brock Lesnar that, hey, you could beat any man in the world, but when it comes down to the monster, to facing monsters, you can't beat them. Well, Where did we hear that before? I believe, if I'm not recollect, all right, Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. Well, who walked out on top majority of the time? And that was Brock Lesnar. And then we hear last night, the Judgment Day having their little segment, how Rhea Ripley and Dominic are going to be on SmackDown. Finn Balor is officially calling out and challenging Edge to a WrestleMania match. And, we're just having call outs now. Another thing that came up above, we know John Cena's to come in next Monday, and whatever that's going to happen with Austin Theory, we'll talk about that later. But Seth Rollins was on the Miz TV last night, inserted himself, FaceTimes Jake Paul, and says, "Hey, listen, show up on Raw next week, and we'll have a face-to-face conversation. Stop avoiding me." So, I mean, in my understanding, the WWE has, at least these matches are starting to get created. They're just getting open challenges. It's Seth Rollins calling out Logan Paul, and yeah, there's a little bit of social media story behind that. Okay. Brock Lesnar and Omos, that was a call out challenge because of possibly a Royal Rumble incident. Finn Balor just calls out of Edge at WrestleMania. Now we know their long history between them two. And then, Bobby Lashley and then Bray Wyatt is still kind of up in the air for me. So I kind of feel like the way that these matches are being talked about and being put together for WrestleMania kind of is intriguing to just calling out, which I think is more of a cheesy way to go about it. I'm not really a fan favorite of that. I like matches that set up and saying, all right, without one person calling out the next person, I would like the match, the storyline to be set up where you could just automatically anticipate them having a match at WrestleMania. So we have a lot to talk about on our program. Cincinnati Reds baseball, want to dive into how so far the new rules have changed up. We'll talk a little bit about. We'll take us first dive into the bracketology for NCAA, as the final week of NCAA is among us, and see where our local sports teams are at with that. And then we'll take a definitely dive in hour number 2, big about WWE, kind of start breaking down some of the figures as we're putting together WrestleMania matches. Want to go ahead and thank everyone who's listening to us on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have those notifications on. If you guys are over there on Facebook or Twitter, welcome. Thank you. Like, share with a friend, and all the above. I want to hear from you guys today. I really do. If you guys want to leave a comment down below in any of our subjects that we're talking about, our hot topics, head on over to our YouTube page, TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to it and then leave us a comment down below. Definitely read them on and share with them with the group. If you guys are also listening to us, taking us on the mobile apps, we want to thank you guys. And we got a busy show for you guys already ahead of us. All right, 2 hours, taking our first time out. We'll come on back and talk more sports. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throw-In with Justin right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. All right, 1024 here on the Throw-In. Want to give a big shout out to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Great podcast, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. kind of changing in direction here from Monday as I give you guys the top 25, top 10 list of my male professional wrestlers of 2022. And I will later on today, I will provide that entire list up on social media. And like I said, I want to hear back from you guys and what you guys think and where you guys believe those top 22 or 25 men or females belong on the list, if they even make the list at all. So, I want to, last year seemed so easy trying to go ahead and do something like that. And, maybe it's because we just stuck with our top 10s. But whatever worked, it worked last year. And I kind of feel like it was a little off. I know I procrastinated throughout the month of January and February. And so we're back at, so I finally got it done. But, I kind of wish that, I think last year was all over the place. And, coming up with an ideal top 25 for me was a little bit difficult. Well, the Cincinnati Reds continued Cactus League action yesterday, taking on the Texas Rangers. Hunter Green, we got to see pitch for the first time yesterday. He went in for an inning and a third and only gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. Now, this is a type of tough ball game. Rangers win 13-2. And when you have, it's kind of one thing, 3 games into spring training, okay? And you kind of have to just remind yourself that these type of games are expected to take place with 3 games are, these type of games are expected to take place throughout spring training. And it was, probably it wasn't a pretty picture. Hunter Green only giving up 2 runs. And, then we saw Connor Overton, in the middle of the inning, in the middle of the game, putting 1 in the third innings, giving up 6 hits, 6 runs, 1 strikeout, giving up also a home run. And it kind of just goes to show, right, that you have to kind of allow this process to happen. It's going to be a tough process. And as a fan, you're, quicker to see, all right, a win-loss record at the end of the day, being like, all right, well, the Reds just suck. And what it is, it's a learning ability. You got, it's not 98 degrees sunny in Arizona. It's not snowing either, but you run into 60, degree temperatures, and you have moderate temperatures there. And with the combination of that, you also have the combination of, there's our players that take a while to get warmed up, and there's no, unless they're going out and playing in a different country and playing in a different league throughout the winter time, then there's really no extra work than besides what they're capable of doing at home. And even what they're capable of doing at home isn't top elite. They're not out there at the ball club now. Yeah, you see ball players out there at the beginning of February. Well, it still takes some time to get into the routine and getting loosened up and getting ready. And then also the combination of, this is not an ideal atmosphere. Yes, this is a baseball game, but every team, all 30 teams, has this large roster. You're trying to get all, at the same time as you're trying to get these new, these veterans, the guys that most likely will be in your 40-man roster or your 26-man roster come opening day. You're trying to get them, trying to spread out that work, at the same time, with these young potential guys. We saw Leo Lopez yesterday go 1 for 3. Noel V. Marte went 1 for 2, scoring in a run. And then we got a chance to see Christian Encarnacion Strand, who went 2 for 2 yesterday. So there's a lot of configuration that goes into a spring training. So when you go drop a game 13, 13 runs, to the Rangers, it's not the end of the world. It's a learning point. I don't expect Connor Overton to be ready now, or even Hunter Green. I expect him to get a couple more outings and come opening day be in a much better position than they were in come at the beginning of spring. It is still the first week. So, you know, for me, and so for some fans, it's like it's frustrating. It is. What we saw also yesterday, and I want to air this out to you guys, is that we saw the pitch clock violation being a take. And I'm not too sure, who was a part of, if anyone, if the Reds have had a pitch clock violation so far this year. Hopefully there's a way to break that down. But Hunter Green actually experienced the pitch clock violation that is now this new rule into place. It happened back on the top of the first inning early on. It was 2 outs with 2 on. The Rangers already scored in a run. This is the first pitch to Travis Jankowski for the Rangers. So hear this out.
Time before the first pitch.
That was a violation. That was a violation, I believe, on the part of Hunter Green right there. Here's the violation: 5, 4, 3, 2. He's got to have his leg up in the air. He did not do it. When that pitch clock goes blank, that's a violation if you've not lifted your leg out of the stretch.
Alrighty. Well, it was a violation, and that's something that I think.
Get a jump on the new season with.
Excuse me. I play that and then I go away. But it's all part of the pitch clock violation. Hunter Green got a nice little taste of that, and it's going to show that I think it works both ways, and I think that for pitchers, you will see pitchers get hit hard with it because it's a much easier rule, right? Where the pitcher has to start making their motion to the plate by the clock hitting 0, right? For batters, you have to see the batters in the box looking at the pitcher, ready to swing within, I believe, about 8 seconds of when the pitcher actually pitches. So as, progression goes through, we will see more of that, down the line. Now, so the Reds, unfortunately lost. They'll be back at it again today. I have my notes here somewhere. There we go. We have Nick Lodolu on the mound, and they'll be taking on the Dodgers, visiting Camelback Ranch Field, taking on the Dodgers. Nick Lodolu will get the nod for the Red Legs, and it will be his first spring training outing, start of the season. Julio Urias will get the nod for the Dodgers. So, understand that these type of games, these blowout games, do happen often. And I'm not even worried about losing 13-2 against the Rangers. It's all about, all right, you lose. How do you bounce back from that? Especially with this large roster that they have to utilize. It's always nice to see guys like Tyler Stevenson in that lineup, along with Jonathan India, and Will Myers and such, to get their spring training work in. Talking about the pitch clock, I want to, the MLB new rules making a change. All right. We kind of got a good taste about it throughout the, this season. I think the key ingredient is, with all these rule changes, is the umpires enforcing these rule changes. You not only have the pitch clock, you have throwing it back over to stepping off the mound, throwing it back over to first base, or pick off twice. Anything else, my understanding is now, if you throw it, let's say Jonathan India is at first base, right? If they throw it over to India once, fine. They throw it over to India twice, fine. And I want to say, was I don't know if it was in that battle or it was an inning, but if you throw it over the third time and you don't get him, then he automatically gets second base. Just like the pitch clock, if you don't start making a delivery to the plate, then it's on automatic ball. And for the batter, if you're not in there ready to go by a certain time, it's an automatic strike. We saw that with Manny Machado. We saw that with the Atlanta Braves. I think his last name is Conley. So, I mean, it works both ways, but the key ingredient to see all of this actually achieve and seeing, every umpire is different. They may allow a leeway, but there should be no more room. And, it's already seeing some differences. So, like, for example, the pitch clock, right? Pitch clock has already seen a significant in the time of play, right? Their average is 2 hours and 39 minutes compared to last season's spring training games with 3 hours and 3 minutes. 2 hours and 39 minutes is the lowest since 1984, to be honest. Some comparisons here. On Sunday alone, 16 games were played. 35 clock violations were in total of Sunday's games. 27 came from pitchers and 8 came from the batters. Over the weekend total, 35 games were played over the entire weekend. 69 of them were clock violations, averaged about 2 violations per game. And we're going to get, you have people need to get time to it. That's why we have these spring training games, and that's why we enforce these rules during spring training games. But I tell you that they need to that people are going to have to start making that adjustment, and it's going to be interesting calling these baseball games and seeing these clock violations. Now, watching the highlight for Nick Lodolu, I didn't see a clock on the backboard. They exclaimed that, hey, one's going to be on each side of the batter's box, and I didn't see that, so I don't know if it was pushed off to the side or if they only have one right now. But these are going to be the new rules, and you're seeing the quicker games, which I think are great for baseball. Keeps you entertained. There's no time for thinking. There's no time for strategy. It's get the ball, get back to the mound, and get your pitch going. And I also wonder, how is that rule going to progress as we get into, as we see baseball get into the postseason this year? Are they still going to implement that rule change or not? The other thing coming out of the rule changes are larger bags. Teams are averaging 1.808 steals. Sorry, can't speak right now. Attempts per game, nearly 40% increase from the 0.77 in 2022. Okay, last year's stolen base success rate was at 73%, and this year's at 78%. Got to remember, the base bags have only gotten bigger from 15 inches to 18 inches. That makes it about 4.5 inches closer to each other, which is to hope to increase the amount of steals. You want to see the aggressive base running on the field, and this is the way that also limit on injuries. You just want to make the game overall safer and more intriguing to pay attention to. Well, with this enlargement bases, we are hoping that teams have a new strategy heading into the season because, listen, these catchers are really good. I tell you that they're something special, and try to test your speed against the catcher's arm is especially when the pitcher's throwing about 98, 100 miles, an hour, is really difficult. So hopefully we saw this a little bit over the weekend, and hopefully we see some more. So overall, I think that the pitching that these new rule changes are coming at an ease for Major League Baseball. It's going to take some time getting used to, admittedly, but it's hopefully these are the changes to the game that are not really changing the image of the game. right? You're not, you have the limited visit to the mounds, the pitch clock, the number of pitches, pitchers, batters you have to face per pitcher, and these are all adjustments that's not changing the original image of the game. Then I think, we have to adjust, and I think we have to come to appreciation. So, all right, let's step away and come on back as that quarterback, the quarterback options in the NFL this year for free agents just got much more interesting. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. You guys are listening to The Throne right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Ten toes down, I'm around with the gang. My whole life I've been doing.
Welcome back to Going 10:43, taking you guys up until noon. As we reach the bottom half of hour number 1 of the program. Yesterday it was there's some signs of some heavy winds in our area, and we got ourselves a tornado warning in the local area. Although, we get tornado warnings quite often, and they're just kind of how do I best put this? They're just really they're really, they're just warnings. That's all there is, right? And yesterday we got some warnings. Wife comes home and the warnings stand. Hey, tornadoes are, be prepared of tornadoes. So we turn on the, she turns on the weather storm alert, and they're like 150, in a different state. And out here, when you run it, if especially if if it's a severe weather warning is issued out in Indiana, and it was more, most likely it will be issued out in Northern Kentucky and in Cincinnati, Ohio, areas like that. And so it's like, but we had some good gushes of wind yesterday throughout the entire day. It was kind of one of those days, I love good storms. I absolutely love the storms that come through. Although I never want nothing bad to happen to us. I mean, I love a good thunderstorm. I love a good wind, the wind speed. I absolutely loved it yesterday. And then you have the wind that's blowing sideways and gushing out. I just never want nothing bad. So I hope that everyone that was part or near tornadoes yesterday were safe. Don't want nothing bad to happen to you guys. I want you guys to be able to tune in and listen to our program. NFL, their quarterback and the free agent right now in quarterbacks is starting to grow even more. We found out this morning that Carson Wentz was released by the Washington Commanders yesterday. And now he joins that free agent market. And to be honest, I mean, this is the free agency. You got Derek Carr, and I'm just going to go down the list. I have a list here. Derek Carr, Geno Smith. You're seeing guys like Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson. Let me go down some more. Jimmy Garoppolo. The other day I typed out the top 100 free agents. So kind of see. I saw a couple. I think Jacoby list. I mean, you have some good. You have a pretty intense list of quarterbacks that right now are free agents that have a case to leading or coming into free agency to get picked up. I mean, we already know that there's about maybe 4, likely, I don't know if they'll get the, opening day, nod to, get the football, but, and Carson Wentz, Washington Commanders kind of fought a little bit last year, in which made things really exciting to fight for. But Carson Wentz in 2022, in the 8 games he played, which is about half the season, 62.3% completions, 1,755 total yards, 11 touchdowns for 9 interceptions. Nothing terrible, in my opinion. And I think, there is obviously room for improvement. I believe his highest completion percentage in 1 year was a 69. And I'd take anyone in the 60s, even as a backup quarterback. Now, Wentz has kind of been around the league a little bit with Philadelphia, then with Washington. And I don't think that there's a doubt that he will get another quarterback position here. Career stats, he's going 93 games in 7 years. He's 30 years old, from North Dakota State. He's thrown 256 passes, over 3,248, which is a 62.6. So he's just right at average. He's thrown a total of 22,129 yards, giving that about 6.7 yards per play on average, 151 touchdowns to 66 interceptions. And I don't think he's a top tier quarterback. I don't think he's a quarterback that should get a starting position unless a team that doesn't need he doesn't have a quarterback yet. So I really think that Carson Wentz, he's competing with some other talented quarterbacks that right now are hitting free agencies. I think the big questions are still remaining in Aaron Rodgers, right? I know that he, over the next few weeks, hopefully sooner than later, will figure out exactly what the deal with Aaron Rodgers is going to be. I know that the Packers are kind of wanting to steer away from him and kind of go with a new direction, and which means is that I think here's the ultimatum here, right? And I was reading an article about this, about where this would all fit, but Packers ain't going to just give up nobody for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, although he's towards the end of his career, he's as good as a Tom Brady in a sense that he's worth the money, and he's still listed as an A top quarterback, even among guys like Patrick Mahomes, among guys like Joe Burrow. And so I think it begs the question is that the Packers ain't just going to give up anybody for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers knows that he sits at the top of the free agency. He sits at the top of the quarterback list, and the Packers know that too. And if you want Aaron Rodgers on your team, it's really, what are you willing to give up? All right. You're going to have to give up your absolute most that you could possibly give up. Is like all these deals that, that the Denver's given Seattle with the first rounds and second round picks for Russell Wilson. Same thing that goes for, what, the Rams, gave up to get Matthew Stafford was, that now you're starting to see affect their ball club and their organization. I look at the list. We talked about Aaron Rodgers. You also have guys like Lamar Jackson who wants to negotiate a contract with the Baltimore Ravens. But I still think that, as the longer that you allow Lamar Jackson to sit and to wait on this contract that he wants, that I think a lot of people are saying that Baltimore is going to give to him, it's just waiting on when. When you sit among, the longer you let that sit, the more problematical that you can see Lamar Jackson take off to another team. And then you got the Derek Carrs. Geno Smith made a great case during the season with the Seahawks. So you look at Carson Wentz and what he adds on, the value he has on a team. He can show up as a backup quarterback to teams like maybe the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills or even Arizona, which would be all great choices as potential landing spots. But if you want a starting role, I think that your best bet will be probably for Tampa Bay, which I think if for Tampa Bay, it would probably be one of their last resorts, and then Carolina. Otherwise, I know Carson Wentz is a decent quarterback. Right. He is a starting quarterback on a league or on a team that is not doing so well. Right. On a team that probably needs a quarterback to start for them for the next year or two as they try to figure out what their game plan is moving forward. But also Carson Wentz is a good, solid backup quarterback. And now the race is like, all right, so what category do you currently put Carson Wentz at? And I'd put him in the backup category. I'll throw him in the mix with Geno Smith. I'll throw him in the mix with Jacoby Brissett and, teams that need a backup quarterback. Patrick Mahomes always needs, a backup, even though he looks like he's indestructible. With how Kyler Murray went down in December last year, I would figure that Arizona will possibly look for a backup quarterback so that they can cover if Kyler Murray goes out again next year. Josh Allen could always use a quarterback, but if you're a free agent and you want to sign with Buffalo, one, the expectations are extremely high. And for two, you got to be able and capable of playing in that endure temperature, in Buffalo, in that frigid cold, where has Carson Wentz played? He's played on the East Coast. Going up north, playing a little bit colder, why not? But if Carson Wentz is looking for that starting position, there's not really many options out there. I see, Tampa Bay would probably be more of a last resort. I could see Tampa Bay doing it, but I think if you want to get a starting quarterback position, it would probably be more so Carolina. Especially if you look to sign right now, the longer you also wait in free agencies, and the more you sit around and you wait, to see what happens, the less opportunities are going to be likely. Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers are your top three guys in that NFL free agency quarterback list. You have to, you're already going to assume that there's about 4 or 5 guys in the draft that are going to be drafted. So those are 4 or 5 teams that don't need a quarterback, at least to start off with. And the potential list doesn't even have one of those teams that could possibly use a quarterback. So we'll see as everything kind of unfolds of how that turns about. All right, hour number 1 is wrapped up here. Hour number 2 coming up next. We'll take a look at the NCAA Bracketology as Kentucky and Xavier are settling in to their brackets ahead of March Madness. And then we want to dive back into the WWE, get you guys ready for NXT, which is tonight. Cody Rhodes talk and where the Judgment Day's road to WrestleMania 39. That's still all to come. We're halfway through our program. Want to welcome you guys in and stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. The TNC Sports Talk, the throw-in continues right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
to my snail show until the spring liberates me from my winter hell.
Alrighty, welcome back here. Hour number 2 of this 2-hour program of the Thoan, taking you guys up until noon. Excuse me, but excited to come back. A lot to talk about still coming up in this hour. We're going to talk about the about the Judgment Day and the role that they have heading into WrestleMania 39, which is bigger than you think it does. We're also going ahead and talk about Cody Rhodes showing up to Friday Night SmackDown, which is going to be a big first time that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes will meet and before WrestleMania and in the WWE before this big match. I talked about hour number 1, breaking news that came away, and that was we were going to see coming up this Saturday in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We will see Sami Zayn having a rematch for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship with Roman Reigns. This is kind of this final roadblock to WrestleMania. They've had this for a couple years now, and I think, and last year we saw Brock. I believe we saw Brock Lesnar in part of it at Madison Square Garden. So this Saturday, this won't be available on television. You can maybe see some highlights on the news, but we're really just seeing this. This is going to be kind of like the last final roadblock for the before WrestleMania, and the Roman Reigns is going to have his hands full because listen, this Friday night you're gonna he has a couple of things to deal with. Yeah, gosh, microphone. I always touch this microphone, and I like to move it around because I always position myself elsewhere. So I always like to move it around, but touching and banging into it is my biggest thing. But Friday night is going to be a pretty big night for Roman Reigns specifically because, for one, if Roman Reigns is defending his title one more time before WrestleMania, and that will be on Saturday against Sami Zayn, he's going to have to focus a little bit about that. And I'm sure SmackDown, maybe Paul Heyman will have more of a say and get involved. So he's going to have to deal with the Sami Zayn, who is looking to take out the bloodline and go against Roman Reigns. And he's still that, thorn in the, the side, that prick in the side of him that is, an issue. He's going to have to deal with the turmoil because Jimmy could not get to Jay. And a matter of fact, it caused more problems. And then also seeing Cody Rhodes for the first time before WrestleMania as well. So kind of a lot of Roman Reigns has a handful coming up for WrestleMania. So we'll talk a little bit about that in this hour. A couple of big games coming out of for college sports in Cincinnati. A couple of baseball games. Xavier's on the road to take on Northern Kentucky Norris. The 6-1 Norris will be defending their home turf against the Musketeers, which are 3-5 coming into gameplay. First pitch is at 2 p.m. Also, for the Kentucky Wildcats, they'll have the home opener for baseball today. First pitch is at 4 p.m. Go on out. We're getting a really good crowd over the past weekend for the Wildcats. Want to continue that today. See everyone out there at the stadium. They'll be taking on the Morehead State Eagles in their home opener of the season. So, I know it's kind of glooming out, a little bit more chilly. I'm getting my forecast is telling me about 58, maybe 60 degrees and nice and sunny for the game time. Definitely going to be cooling down later on in the evening, but it looks gloomy right now. Hopefully it lightens up in just a few hours. Going to love to see some really great baseball games going your way. Basketball continues tomorrow. And on top of that, the Lakers going to start their 2-game road stands today. They're going to be over in Memphis for the night basketball game with LeBron James being out yet again. All right, I want to go ahead and share with you guys, talk about kind of diving deep into the March Madness tournament, which is coming up here in just a few weeks. Gotta apologize, excuse me for a second. I'm gonna take care of my sinuses, always flaring up. So give me 1 second, we'll take care of that. I have really bad sinuses. I tell you, you guys could probably hear it all the time. It's probably even annoying, but yeah, we're gonna take a look at the little bracket tournament that we have here. This is gonna be strictly from the CBS Sports website. If you want to know more of the information, head on over to CBS Sports. This is bracketology expert Jerry Palm. Started writing about sports on the internet right after A.L. Gore invented it. He was the first to bring RPI out of the open, and is one of the pioneers of predicting the March Madness bracketology. So this is just a bracketology and things to look out for. Nothing, obviously, things won't be in the set until after the season ends officially. Right now, according to bracketology expert Jerry Palm, he has the last four in is Mississippi State, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Michigan. And then the first four out is Oklahoma State, Penn State, North Carolina, and Arizona. And we have some games when we don't want to know the time frames or the dates yet. This was as of 9:16 a.m. This morning. And the first four, which is the first four games before to kind of finish off the East, the South, and the West in the seeding. They have in the East, West Virginia taking on Michigan, Mississippi State in the South taking on Wisconsin. Continuing in the South, you have Morehead State taking on FDU, and then out in the West, you have Texas A&M CC taking on Howard. And what is notable for this bracketology report is that, listen, there's not many, there's only two games left. And just as important, these two games out that is left. Yeah, if you want Michigan or West Virginia, which I think will be an incredible battle to figure out the number 11 seed in the East, only one team is going to make it. And I don't know how much these two games or these one games or two games left of the NCAA season are going to really affect the change of the bracketology. But if you're looking yourself and you're like, I'm in the first four, you really need to make sure that it's a do or die scenario. Right now, currently where this all stands, all right, you have Alabama awaiting the number one seed in the South. Houston is the number one seed in the Midwest. And then you got Purdue in the West and Kansas in the East. And I'm just looking through some of these teams. And, what I like about the NCAA bracket tournament, the NCAA March Madness, is that you got 64 teams. And realistically, all right, everyone is everywhere. Right. And then that's what's so is great, exciting about this. And a matter of fact, I had this ready last night, and it comes to find out as we look into the Kentucky into the East. And I don't think he's in the East team. Well, let's see where they're at. Well, they're right now in the Midwest. So let me change that, and then they're still in the West. All right. So what it means for us. Is that we're also now seeing Kentucky starting to move up, because I believe that they were number 7 not too long ago. Matter of fact, I saw them yesterday when I was filling this out. I saw them number 7 in the East, and then now they're number 6 in the Midwest, looking to take on Rutgers. Okay, so right now you look at the Midwest for Kentucky, kind of nice big bracket. They're going to really have to deal, if this is going to be played. The game will be held in Sacramento. I believe these 2 games will be, and which will be California. Kentucky will take on Rutgers, and then the winner of that game will go on to face either Arizona or UC Irvine. And then if Kentucky can hold off on those 2 games, they're gonna have to defeat either Texas, Colgate, USC, or Creighton, as they're in that 4 bracket. So kind of exciting to kind of look at this and see, all right, who realistically can win. And what's also so fascinating is that, listen, you got 64 teams, and we've seen this before. Not a single team is guaranteed to have a clear win advantage in the NCAA. And that's what makes this betting of college games in March Madness tournament so special. It's because you can't expect or anticipate a certain team to walk away with it all. Okay. Xavier joins the Purdue bracket out there in the West. Gonna be able to would have to come up with number 1 Purdue if they can. But their first game is looking at Yale, ranked number 13 right now in that bracket. As they as they look to head in, I'm pretty confident. All right, I know it's nothing set in stone, but I'm pretty confident this is where it's going to look at. But we still have one, within less than a week of basketball to be played, as the final weeks are among us. Just kind of looking at some of the other teams, UCLA, just kind of a fan favorite. You see Gonzaga, always a dangerous team, and they didn't really have a sparkler, year this year. But they're number 3 in the West bracket. Marquette is number 2 out there in the West as well. So we don't really have to quite face them, which is kind of a relief view. And then I go see, there's my San Diego State Aztecs, number 5 in the East, and they're comfortably in there. And then you also, any other team, USC, okay. Northwestern, Houston, obviously, Youngstown, so TCU is another good one right now. So NC State. So we have a couple, Kansas State, Michigan State. So we have a couple good brackets going on. They're really coming to shape way, but it's going to be that first 4 that really looks out to be the to really set the tone and kick things off here in the March Madness bracket tournament. So we'll kind of pay attention to that a little bit more as the week progresses, as we get into closer to March Madness tournament and all that fun stuff. But just kind of paying attention all the way to that. Come this cold, come these weathers and these gloomy days, it kind of makes you a little bit of tired. We had some questions coming into Monday Night Raw last night. Finn Balor officially challenging Edge at WrestleMania, but a couple questions, statements that we wanted to talk about. Becky Lynch and Lita moving into having that challenge, defeating Damage Control, Brock Lesnar, accepted Omos, and the most secret revealed on on the Miz TV was that the Miz is hosting WrestleMania. Listen. So right now, what do we look at? So what I want to do when we come back, I want to take a look at the WrestleMania card matches right now that we have officially confirmed. Right. I want to also take a look at the matches that are now lingering closer to time. Right. And I still want to talk about the Judgment Day's road to WrestleMania because they're really heavily involved, which is honestly a good thing, right? Or is it? And, some of the matches. And then we also want to talk about Cody Rhodes getting ready for Friday night SmackDown. That is still to come. Much more. Taking you guys up until noon. You guys are listening to the Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Well, when I woke up.
Alrighty, this hour of the Throw-In is given to you thanks to a shout out of Spreaker, where we upload the Throw-In every episode on audio platforms. If you listen to podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find the Throw-In anywhere, pretty much. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Spreaker is a platform where you can upload your own podcast. You can monetize it and get credit for the work that you put out there. I know I do. So you guys could check us out. Download Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and check out the Throw-In now. Take us on the road with you wherever you go. Alrighty, 11:21 here, taking you guys up until noon on the Throw-In, and a couple things kind of just steer ahead in our direction as we talk about WrestleMania. There's about 33 days away here, and so far we have Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. We have Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. We have Bianca Belair and Asuka, and a newly confirmed match that was confirmed last night was now Omos taking on Brock Lesnar. And so we have 4 matches kind of ahead for us, ready for WrestleMania to come. And, I'm excited. There's a lot to get excited for. And this is the first year that we are seeing WrestleMania being put together in the eyes of Triple H. Right? Hunter Hearst, Paul. All right. Him and the creative team and the writing team have come together and put together this WrestleMania event. 2 nights, not 1 night, but 2 nights, you guys. I want to make sure that is important and it's understood, because right now we have not 1, not 2, not 3, but only 4 matches for 2 nights. Now, listen, we have plenty of matches waiting to be confirmed. We can't confirm or deny it. Last minute changes. Bobby Lashley, Bray, John Cena, Austin Theory, Dominic and Ray, Edge, and Finn Balor. The Usos taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And I'm assuming a few more, but that's the first things that could come off the top of my head. Triple H, there was a article that came out last week about how Triple H wasn't quite there to have he was kind of more promo prone to have a smaller card. And, we're kind of almost seeing that in a sense. And part of me understands it, part of me doesn't. I think one thing that has been a repetitive thing the last couple of years, I think it takes away from the WrestleMania standpoint, is that, WWE is trying to fit everyone into WrestleMania, the entire roster at some point, somehow, some way, shape, or form. And I think it's important to highlight is that WrestleMania are for the key elite athletes. All right. The best of the best, the top of the top, the best storylines get concluded or begin at WrestleMania. And when you try to fit, 10, 12 matches in a night, it does a couple of things. one, it brings WrestleMania down. It extends WrestleMania longer than what it should be. So then the attention span of the fans start losing interest into the matches towards the end of the night. Or what they do is they don't watch the first half and they watch the second half. You want to kind of keep your fans invested throughout the entire time. The second thing it does, it takes time away from the storytelling in the ring between, the actual athletes. You already have things like the video packages and the entrances and yada, yada, yada that takes up time of the show, and you have less time in the ring, especially when you hold these venues at stadiums like this coming up one at SoFi Stadium. So maybe having fewer matches, 5-6 matches that night, okay, and then allow these athletes to focus on the match will do much better. So, as I mentioned, 4 matches are confirmed. There's a few more that are waiting to be confirmed, and 5 weeks away. I'm cool. I'm mellow. I'm just excited, and I can't wait to see the final product. Now, something that I kind of really wasn't expecting to talk about today, but what I want to play some more feedback to you guys is that, this whole Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley. I mentioned at the beginning of today's program that I didn't quite understand where this kind of fits into place, right? But what I see now, to be honest, is I don't know. I really don't know. I guess that's my thing, and I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. Second, and I want to play. Bray Wyatt brings back the quote unquote happy dance, and reminds me a lot about when he had the feud with John Cena back at WrestleMania in 2020, where things just going to go well. So here I'm going to play the audio of the Almighty making it clear that he does not play games. Bray Wyatt then sings his way into Lashley's head. And so I'm going to go ahead and play that audio. You guys enjoy that here. Give it.
I'm not in a good mood right now because I own Brock Lesnar at the Elimination Chamber. And instead of Brock tapping out to the Hurt Lock, he resorted to a low blow. So I won the match, but I wanted more. And for proving my dominance over Brock Lesnar, I get Bray Wyatt playing his little kid games. Whose secret is it? Who knocks on the door? I don't play little kid games because I'm the almighty Bobby Lashley. So Bray Wyatt, keep my name out of your mouth or I will hurt you.
The Almighty not mincing words. A warning to Bray Wyatt. Keep my name out of your mouth. Hit it.
And here's the
now shake those hips and let your backbone slip. Pull up your pants and do the muscle man dance.
Muscle man dance.
Just follow my voice. You don't really have a choice. And pull up your pants and do the muscle man dance. Now wiggle your behind. Erase your mind. Pull up your pants and do the muscle man dance.
Alrighty. Oh, this is hilarious.
You should run.
Alrighty. I mean, listen, I don't quite know what to say, you guys. The last time I saw this Muscle Man dance, and I really encourage you guys to watch it as fans, right? To watch this segment. I thought it was hysterical. Bray Wyatt's done a really good job doing everything. It makes sense. Bobby Lashley, really was locked in dead set into a feud with Brock Lesnar. And I really think that the way that the match ended with a low blow really kind of hurt and it sucked. And it left us to really, one, really understand who was the better man. And two, I mean, I kind of feel like it was pointless in this sense. Because Brock Lesnar really, I mean, it really does not look good on Brock Lesnar. And let me tell you something about Brock Lesnar. Ever since Paul Heyman left him, ever since he's kind of changed this more go happy figure guy, which I love, being able to speak for himself, being able to cut promos, being able to kind of do what he wants to do without any leash, which I like, but he hasn't had a lot of success doing it, right? He made this very clear point to the WWE, to Bobby Lashley, that he wanted a match. He wanted this match because Bobby Lashley has cost him and has got that one-upper advantage. Well, you want to talk about cowardness. Doesn't it look like a cowardness when you have to resolve, when a fan favorite, because that's what Brock Lesnar is, has to resign and, resolve his matters with losing via disqualification. Now, I don't necessarily think that he should be tapping out, but there's other ways to end that match other than an elimination chamber, other than making Bobby Lashley look like this coward and weak athlete, which we know he's not. That's my thing, and ever since this, this new era of new gimmick, I would say, of Brock Lesnar has opened up to us. I kind of just like, he has not really, yes, he's given back to the company, but he's really been on a down streak as of late. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that. So, and then, Bobby Lashley wins this way, and he just got done with the physical beating with Brock Lesnar. And now he's going to go play these child games with Bray Wyatt. And, this is going to be the second match that we see from Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, if they so go ahead and go down the route of both of them having a match. And I guess my figure is that these two men are top tier athletes. These are fan favorites. Everyone loves Bray Wyatt. Everyone loves Bobby Lashley. And to be able to determine who is going to win, I think it's just an unfair statement or unfair analysis. So I don't know. I like I said, I encourage you guys to go out there and actually watch the little segment. I think, you got to give credit where credit's to Bobby, not Bobby Lashley, but to Bray Wyatt for those video packages. Man, I definitely enjoy them. And, it makes it exciting, but at the same time, it's, Bray Wyatt's all over the place. I mean, he keeps referring sometimes back to the Fiend that he's no longer with it, but he could pull it out any time. Then you have Uncle Howdy in this back pocket, and there's really, and I think this is what I think is killing me, is that there's really no clear direction. You had these manipulative games where you've had Uncle Howdy and you've had the Pig and you've had the Gizzard and all these people. I thought the buildup was for a reveal or some sort of big domination, which we haven't seen yet. We've seen very little to none. And the only time we've seen him was in the pitch black match at the Royal Rumble, which I thought was great. But we haven't really seen much or heard much from Bray Wyatt since then, and, I get it. You want to try to build your story. You're trying to build your character and see what it shows. But I mean, you got to keep it going at some point. I feel like Bray Wyatt right now, in my opinion, is hitting a stalemate. What's going to happen? Is Alexa Bliss going to come back with Bray Wyatt and be, maybe Sister Abigail? I don't know. But we need to start seeing something happening at WrestleMania, or at least heading into WrestleMania, you guys. We need to see, if we get Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt, I really don't know the direction of any of this. And it's kind of right now, you talk about the don't knows, and that could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing. And I say it's going to be a bad thing because I really don't know. When you don't know, I'm more confused, and I don't know. And when I'm more confused, I'm getting headaches and I can't really think straight when I'm confused. And that's what Bray Wyatt is kind of leading me down this path. And this match right here is kind of confusing to me. Omos and Brock Lesnar I could see, but it's the Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley I don't see. I don't know where the story creatives have come down. I don't know what the game plan is. And please let me know if you guys know anything about the game plan. Let me know, because I need to know something. I don't know why. I just don't know why. All right. Let's take our last time out of the program. Want to talk about the Judgment Day coming back. Also, NXT is tonight. All right. We have a pretty big match as they get ready for this weekend and Saturday, as they get ready for their pay-per-view. We'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see. We will see. It will be NXT on USA Network tonight at 8 p.m. We will see Wes Lee issue another open challenge match for the North American Championship. And we will also see Gigi Dolan speaks after attacking JC Jane last week. And that's still to come. More to come here. Wrapping up on our last, taking you to the bottom of the hour right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Gotta get it right now. Yeah, push your limits with you right now.
11:41 here on the program, bottom half of the hour. Want to give a big shout out to our guys over at Epidemic Sound, a royalty-free music link here where you can discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. And Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. Yeah, Benjamin Woods is on live right now. Want to give another shout out to our guys over at Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast, Steve Barber, Dwayne Davis. Why We Are Fans, they're continuing. They had a episode a week ago with Jamie and John from the True Crime Podcast and Bless Their Hearts Podcast. So if you guys are wanting to check out more wrestling podcasts, check out Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. And I mentioned I like their intro videos. I did theirs a year ago, and they were using it for about a year. And then I liked, then they made their own new one. I really liked it. I haven't really heard much. I know work's kind of been, I guess, hectic for Steve Barber and trying to link, as they're not together. Steve lives up at Ohio, at Cincinnati, and Dwayne lives way down in southern Kentucky, which has been a while. So, man, they do some great stuff. Jeff, I'll go ahead and check out their podcast, that latest episode here as of late. But, listen, all right, 33 days away before WrestleMania. And, we're starting to see some things shape up and some things form. And as we wait to hear from Edge, because Finn Balor last night officially challenged Edge to WrestleMania, saying that, hey, you're going to do things on my time, and I'm going to finish what I started a long time ago when I took over the Judgment Day, and it's exciting. All right. And the Judgment Day has really played a role, right, heading into WrestleMania 39. All right. The Usos and the Bloodline has played a role heading into WrestleMania 39. You think of Roman Reigns as the Bloodline having a match at WrestleMania. I think of the Usos going to have a match at WrestleMania. All right. You see Rhea Ripley and right now Finn Balor are looking to have matches at WrestleMania. Dominic Mysterio, and as long as he keeps on pushing his own father, is going to have a match at WrestleMania. I guess the lone wolf is Damian Priest. Now, could we see Damian Priest win the 20-man battle royal that's coming March 12th on SmackDown to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, which will be defended at WrestleMania? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I haven't gone into favorites yet, but I think if I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks since the Royal Rumble. And I think it threw some of us by surprise that Rhea Ripley won the women's Royal Rumble match. And I think it definitely threw us by surprise that Rhea Ripley has decided that she was going to cash in her WrestleMania opportunity on Charlotte Flair. And, Finn Balor and Edge is a key, this storyline of, and this dates back to last year, which I think is pretty, I think it's nice to be able to last out long this year. But I really have high hopes for the Judgment Day. And if you're thinking, because the way I think is, and I'm predicting, this is just a bold prediction from me, is that the Bloodline is going to kind of take a break. Roman Reigns has been running the WWE for the past several years. And yes, he's been the face and he's been doing a pretty damn good job, but it needs to continue. It needs to kind of take a break. Now, there's a lot of different ways that all of this could go down, but I can see the Bloodline kind of taking a step back. And this is when the Judgment Day could kind of insert themselves into that kind of role. And it's going to start off with Rhea Ripley winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. And yes, on February 28th, right, 33 days away from WrestleMania, I am saying that Rhea Ripley will defeat Charlotte Flair to become the new SmackDown Women's Wrestling, or new SmackDown Women's Championship. Laugh at me all you want, you guys. And that's fine. Because, I really believe that 2023 needs to be the year. If the Judgment Day is going to be afloat, that it needs to be a big year for them. They need to put some title gold around their waist. I mean, after Finn Balor, I think what really needs to happen, and this is just a bold prediction in my opinion, Rhea Ripley becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion. We have then Finn Balor ends the career of the Rated R Superstar Edge. Dominic Mysterio beats Rey Mysterio. And I say Damian Priest defeats Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I know that's a pretty bold prediction. I can see at least 3 of the 4 predictions I have happening, but something along that line needs to take place. And I say that, and this is, I don't see, if they don't have the success that that I'm predicting them to have at WrestleMania, then I fear that their reign, their fraction isn't going to be significant much longer. All right. I understand the concept of the Judgment Day is recruiting people. Well, let's guess what? It's been, I don't know, almost 6 months since you recruited people. All right. To be honest, last person was Dominic Mysterio. And I think everyone else has been blinded about, it's kind of been a blur about what they really have accomplished since then. Now, come 2023, you're seeing opportunities present itself. It's about capitalizing on that moment. And as the bloodline, like I said, as the bloodline maybe is starting to exit, to take their break, not to go away, but to maybe take their break, especially Roman Reigns, this is the time where the Judgment Day needs to come in and needs to kind of take care of themselves. I think that they're in a position where they can successfully do it also. So that's what right now, that'll be 1, 2, 3 different matches. If Damian Priest is a favorite to win and wins the number 1 contender spot, that'll be 4 matches throughout SummerSlam. Not SummerSlam. Throughout WrestleMania that Judgment Day would have. And I think, it's going to all come down to the end result, because if they capture a couple of golds and defeat and end someone's career, I think that just elevates someone the fraction even more. But the big story that comes out, in my opinion, of last night and are now setting focus towards WrestleMania, and especially towards this Friday night on SmackDown, is that number 1 story, and that's Cody Rhodes, and is going to go face to face with Roman Reigns and confront him on SmackDown. Now Paul Heyman, said something last night. It's basically saying, hey, Cody Rhodes is invading. He's not on the SmackDown roster. He's invading SmackDown. He's invading the bloodline. He's invading the WWE universe on SmackDown in Washington. He's invading Washington, D.C., just to confront Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman turns that around and says, well, you know what? Guess what? Roman Reigns is awaiting you and will be confronting you about your invasion. Now, I've talked about this time and time throughout this program, and I'm like, well, you know what? Roman Reigns has his hands full Friday Night SmackDown, because as earlier, the breaking news that came out that Roman Reigns will once again defend his undisputed WWE Universal Championship, okay, at this Saturday in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on the final road to WrestleMania. Now, hey, what would happen, just hypothetically, that Sami Zayn somehow wins the Universal Championship? What would happen, hypothetically? As we there get some Wi-Fi issues with the last 8 minutes of the program here, and once again, all right. So let me just wrap it up. So hypothetically, if Sami Zayn can defeat Roman Reigns this Saturday in Canada, that will change the entire game plan for WrestleMania. The other goal here is on SmackDown, because like I said, Roman Reigns has his hands pretty full, is Roman Reigns has to deal with his family. has to deal with the bloodline, has to deal with the Usos and Jay and Jimmy and Solo. Not so much Solo, but Jay and Jimmy. So, I mentioned back on Friday, Jimmy tried to get Jay to realize to come back to the bloodline, and instead, Sami Zayn perceived. And we talked about this yesterday. You guys could go check back yesterday's show to know the details about that. But then on top of that, Roman Reigns is going to have to come face to face with Cody Rhodes. If he could get past Saturday's match with Sami Zayn, all right, in Toronto, then he would have to ultimately in 4 weeks face Cody Rhodes, which is probably, in my opinion, 10 times, at least twice as good as Sami Zayn. So tell you, SmackDown is going to be it would be compacted and filled for Roman Reigns, and a lot of things that this tribal chief is going to have to handle. So a lot looking towards it for SmackDown, and a lot looking, coming away. Want to once again congratulate The Miz being the host of WrestleMania 39. I said I was a pretty big fan of that. And like I said, this is kind of be my last and final step before I'll be like, no more host if it fails. I hope it doesn't fail. I think they've given The Miz enough time for one to promote WrestleMania crazy, and also to come up with some ideas to be a part of WrestleMania, not just in one segment. I don't want to just see The Miz TV. He needs to be around the entire arena, the entire weekend. So that's still coming. Congratulate Becky Lynch and Lita for defeating Damage Control with the help in the return of Trish Stratus, and trying to see where that story ties down. Alrighty, the spring training continues today for the Cincinnati Reds as they get ready to take on as they get ready to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers at Camelback Stadium. You got the 1-2 Reds going up against the 2-1 Dodgers. Nick Lodolo will get his first spring training work of the year, taking on Julio Urias. First pitch is at 3:05 p.m. You can watch this game on Sportsnet LA. You also have national, it's out of market only MLB network. So if you don't live in the Cincinnati Reds area, you'll be able to watch this game on television. You can also listen to the game on the Dodgers radio AM 570 or KTNQ 1020, or listen to on the Reds channel radio station WLW 700. Today's lineup is actually given. I like about these early games because you could get the lineup. But let's give you the lineup before we wrap up our show here this morning. Give me 1 second. I have it pulled up here. There we go. All righty. So the lineup for the Cincinnati Reds looks like this. Batting first in right field is Jake Fraley. Tyler Stevenson will be playing first base, which is going to be a transition for him because as they like to protect Tyler Stevenson, they're going to want to see him at first base a little bit more. And it's going to help Joey Votto as well to utilize the at-bats, the designated hitter spot, and all the above. So Tyler Stevenson will be playing first base, batting second. Chad Pinder at second base will be batting third. The cleanup position belongs to the center fielder, TJ Freedom. Spencer Steer will be at third base. He'll be batting fifth. The designated hitter in the sixth slot will be Will Benson. Jose Barrero will get his nod at shortstop today, batting seventh. Luke Mail will be doing the catching behind the plate for Nick Lodolo. He'll be batting eighth, and Stuart Fairchild will be playing left field today. He'll be batting ninth. So it's Fraley, Stevenson, Pender, Friedel, Steer, Benson, Barrero, Mal, and Fairchild for the starting lineup for the Cincinnati Reds, like I said, which will be kicking underway today at 3:05 Eastern Standard Time. So, like I said, I am eager to always hear back from you guys and everything that is going on. Don't be afraid to leave us a comment down below. If you guys are watching us from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, we thank you. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on and don't miss a single episode. If you guys are downloading us and taking us on the road with you wherever you guys go, thank you guys again. Leave us a comment down below. Don't be afraid to leave us, a rating. Available. The throw-in is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Deezer, Podchaser, all of the above. If you listen to a podcast, we're on it right there. We'll be back again tomorrow with some more action here, picking up all news stories and whatnot. Thank you guys for tuning into the throw-in. Until next time, you guys take care. Have a wonderful Tuesday.